Well, if it isn't Texas, the greatest martial artist in all of Motor City. Behold, I have a gun that shoots a snake.
A channel built on a corpse never felt so good. While I always preferred Toon Disney, when Disney XD launched, it seemed like it might be pretty cool. A new boy-centric channel full of stuff I love.
Yeah, that stuff.
Besides, where else could you watch Fresh Prince back-to-back with Silver Surfer? While most of its library in the beginning came from acquired programming and leftovers from Toon Disney and Jetix, it did eventually start making its own content. Stuff like Kick Buttowski, Aaron Stone, and one of my personal favorites, Pin Zero Part-Time Hero.
Relax. Zombies can't untie knots. Really? Sailor zombie in a mall? Unbelievable.
I used to make a full English breakfast and watch this every morning before school, and I got the scars to prove it.
I'll have what I'm having. I'll have what I'm having.
But as an action connoisseur, there was one show that immediately caught my eye.
Let's do a little modification, burner style.
Let's play Find Julie.
I just arrived in my pants.
I still can't believe that we got something like Motor City, let alone from Disney. Around that time, the hardest cartoon they had was Phineas and Ferb.
Dang it. I can't really pull that off, can I?
You're not very street.
Then here comes this high-octane thrill ride to remind you why cartoons rule in the first place. Amazing animation, slick character designs, and oh man, this is gonna get canceled, isn't it?
God lost all of you. You're fired. Go on, scram. Get out of here, you moochers.
Yeah, something this cool was never bound to last, but man, I wish it did. So, to pay tribute to it, we're gonna go over all the ways this show manages to be something really special. And if you're wondering why this took me so long to make after I said I would do it 2 years ago,
I don't want to do anything.
I'm your host and pit crew extraordinaire, D'Angelo Edwards. And today, I'm taking my hat off to Motor City.
It goes bum bum click bum click bum.
We need more bad guys to smash.
Click bum. I be Lord of the Rings, I manifest. Represent from the den, I don't wear no vest. I got a heart in my chest, it goes bum bum. I sway halfway, the days hump get over. I be Lord of the Rings, I manifest.
I'll put a shot to your sister.
I don't wear no vest. I got a heart in my chest, it goes bum bum. I sway halfway, the days hump get over. One out the ring, so now you got.
Tex.
What if he throws up on you? I would totally throw up on him if he threw up on me. And I would totally throw up stronger and better. Check out my muscular throat and neck.
Before we put the pedal to the metal, let's take a quick detour and get some backstory on this thing. Motor City was created by Chris Prynoski, who on this channel you probably know best as the director of Megas XLR.
Nice.
Dude made the coolest show on Cartoon Network and Disney. Now we just need Nick to hire him and we can have the canceled trifecta. Along with his wife, he's also the founder of Titmouse, one of my favorite animation studios, and the people behind stuff like Metalocalypse, Black Dynamite, Super Gel, Ball Masters. They even did the often overlooked but never forgotten Freaknik the Musical.
Blaze are the booty levels are rising fast.
Chris came up with the idea for Motor City way back when he was at MTV, working on another favorite of mine, Downtown. You see, this is back when they actually made TV shows, instead of just airing endless catfish and ridiculousness. Forget the M, they might have to drop the TV out of their name too. But anyway, while Chris was making Downtown, he had a dream about another show.
Remember the dream I had?
Boy, don't nobody listen to you.
A show about wild teens using tricked out cars to rebel in a futuristic society. The idea appealed to him so much that he went to MTV through a proxy and got them to agree to make a pitch animation.
Detroit, the Renaissance City.
Built upon the foundation of the digital revolution, this utopian society has replaced the automobile with pollution-free satellite transportation. It is the epitome of efficiency and safety.
But who wants to live safe if you can't live fast?
After passing the Anti-Combustion Act of the futuristic year of 2009, cars are now outlawed and replaced with living rooms, giant floating boxes that people use for transportation. To gain back the freedoms their cars once allowed them, Mike Chilton and his band of gearheaded rebels are willing to do whatever it takes, even if it means a fight with the law. The first pilot does a good job at selling the pitch, even though it's not even 2 minutes long, and it's cool to see how different it was. It looks like it was still going to be set in the future, but a far less distant one. And the style looked a lot closer to downtown. Also, going by this old promotional cover Chris shared, it looks like the pilot was going to be movie length, which would have ruled. According to this ancient website they made, Motorcity was going to be the Dukes of Hazzard meets Akira. An idea so out there you'd be crazy not to take your shot, and so they did. They didn't get picked up.
Oh, man!
So Chris decided to move on for now, while polishing the pitch here and there. He touched up the characters a bit, and while still different, they started heading towards that angular style. I like this one, dude looks like he just got front page on Reddit. But for years, nothing really happened with it. Just like Megas, he even tried to get it on Adult Swim, but no luck. Until one day, Chris got a call from a friend who was working at Disney, saying that they had a new channel and wanted some boy shows to flesh it out with. And he thought Chris's crazy car idea was the perfect fit. Considering that Cars made Disney, let me just check the amount. It just says lol. So Chris took the idea to Disney, and they made another pilot, though that one hasn't been released to the public yet. There is a screen recording of it floating around up there, but that's about it. Though looking at it, it seems like it's mostly the same as the full show, with a couple of plot differences here and there. But the style and premise were basically set in stone, and Disney picked it up in 2009. Ironic, huh?
It's not ironic, it's just coincidental.
And after only 2 short delays, not bad, Motorcity premiered on April 30th, 2012.
Be cool, be cool.
Designation A4312. Why are you in a restricted area?
Hello. I am a robot.
From the start, Motorcity was always meant to be an experiment for Disney, so they gave Chris and his team a lot of creative freedom, and they leaned heavy into artistic experimentation. They took inspiration from tons of places. Old anime like Macross and Project A-ko, all the art and cars of Ed Roth, and 80s movies like Escape from New York. Something that everyone that worked on the show had to watch was the movie Redline.
Redline!
On the Motorcity Rant Hour, a fan podcast that was really helpful, Chris mentioned that him and another animator on Megas actually ended up doing some work for the movie. After Madhouse, the studio that worked on the Megas pilot, asked for their help.
Yeah, Redline, is an interesting history I have with Redline, because the really old Motor City trailer, we did, I directed the series Megas XLR for Cartoon Network, and when we were doing the pilot, we did the pilot with Madhouse, who would go on to do Redline. And when I was over there, I showed them the trailer to Motor City when Koike-san and Morimoto were working on some other projects. So then when they started development on the Redline movie, they called myself and Jody Schaefer, who's one of the creators of Megas, to do character layout for Redline, because at the time, it's interesting how fast the world has gotten smaller, because at the time they felt Redline was such a Western style, that Koike's drawing style was so Western that they couldn't find people in Japan to draw like him.
For character designs, they went to Robert Valley, whose work I have always loved. His angular style combined with those harsh shadows make for some of the most striking stuff out there. You've probably seen his work on stuff like Love, Death, and Robots, the Gorillaz music videos, or Disney XD's other short-lived action show, Tron Uprising. He's also behind one of the coolest interpretations of Wonder Woman I've ever seen. He took the characters that Chris had developed and pushed the style even further, creating some of the coolest looking designs I've ever seen. But the people are only half of the equation in Motor City, so call up Carlton because these guys have a need for speed. To hook these guys up with some sweet rides, they got Brandon Queller, who designed all the cars. Also, I hope I said your name right, that was real confident of me. Now, normally I don't really care about cars or planes or stuff. This is strictly a giant robot household. So if that truck isn't turning into a 15-foot tall Robo-Daddy, I don't want it. But these have so much life and personality, they shine just as much as the characters, if not more. He designed all the vehicles and bots, and they were modeled in 3D and composited into the show. 3D vehicles are nothing new in animation, but ever since we made the switch, most of the time it's pretty obvious. But in Motor City, everything blends together seamlessly. The art team worked their fingers to the bones polishing this thing. Made with Maya, Photoshop, and Flash, there is nothing out there that looks like this show. They even developed a custom Flash plugin that let them freely manipulate the characters' faces. And as someone who used to work in Flash, when I first saw this demo, I seethed in jealousy. This was before Toon Boom had dominated the industry. Doing stuff like this in Flash was basically unheard of. We've come a long way from Mucha Lucha. So art department wise, this thing was firing on all cylinders. But how does it fare in the story department?
You know, I really don't care if they make it. I just hope someone gets blown up.
The story of Motor City takes place in the dystopian future of Detroit. The old city has fallen into ruin, and on top of it, the shiny new world of Deluxe has been built. It's modern, slick, and
boring. Delete.
Deluxe is run by the evil Abraham Cain, a guy named not only after the first murderer, but also a dude who was just super down to kill his own son.
You wanna tell me what the fuck that was?
Under Cain's rule, Deluxe has become little more than a gilded cage for its citizens. Its fascist regime covered up by all the bells and whistles. But as all the residents' rights are stripped away in the name of safety and progress, one group of rebels fights back against Cain. From the underground city of Old Detroit, now known by its old nickname of Motor City, Mike Chilton leads his group, the Burners, in a fight for the right to live fast and live free. It's a pretty good premise, and it gives us tons of cool characters to follow on adventures. While most of the show is episodic, with the continuity taking a backseat to more Monster of the Week stuff, they do a great job at fleshing out the characters. So let's start with the main character and leader of the Burners, Mike Chilton.
Cadet Chilton. You're always sending your robots by unannounced, Dave. Maybe next time you could show up in the flesh.
A thrill-seeking force of justice, Mike is equal parts Spike Spiegel and Sonic the Hedgehog. Actually, I think his voice actor Reed Scott would make a perfect Sonic if he just upped his pitch a bit. Mike spends his time helping out the citizens of Motor City whenever Cain pokes his nose in, and working on his prized possession, Mutt, a heavily customized muscle car, mostly because it keeps getting totaled.
Man, that was only 1%?
We made it! When he's not out fighting the good fight, he's usually chilling with his friends, cruising around, and getting himself into trouble.
We were just leaving.
Mike is like the ultimate portrayal of cool without trying. He doesn't do these death-defying stunts because he's trying to impress anyone. It's just because he thinks it's fun. Does he tend to tread into complete disregard for his life sometimes? And who's to say? I love how he interacts with the rest of the Burners too, doing everything he can to help them out, whether it be playing wingman or taking the most dangerous missions for himself. Sometimes his protective nature gets the best of him though, and he starts to baby them, much to their annoyance.
What was with you back there? Why did you cut me off?
Whoa, easy! Nothing was with me, I don't know, things are getting crazy out there. I can't take any chances, alright? I don't know what I would do if something happened to you guys.
Eventually though, he does learn to step back and let his team do their thing more. And as the series goes on, you really see how much faith he has in them.
We can handle it, bro. I know. And you're gonna get the chance to prove it.
Part of the reason that Mike fights so hard for Motor City is that he actually used to work for Cain, back when he thought he was a good guy. After being ordered to destroy a building in Motor City that still has people in it, Mike instead decides to save them and defect from Deluxe. Remember this, it'll be on the test. Now he lives underground and he wouldn't have it any other way. And I'm on his side. Motor City looks way more fun to live in than Deluxe. Seeing how everything is just cobbled together from scrap metal and old remains of America, it's such a well lived in world. They even did a lot to keep it authentic to the feeling of real Detroit, taking actual trips to the city for inspiration. Besides the Burners, you get to see a bunch of other groups that live in Motor City too, like the Amazons, an all-female team that drive customized race cars, or my favorites, the Skylarks, who run the biggest motel in Motor City. I mostly just like him because their leader looks so cool. I wish he showed up more. On the flip side, they really nailed the sterile and sanitized look for Deluxe. I'd say this is what an Elon Musk ran future would look like, but at least Kane's daughter still talks to him. Also, most of his stuff actually works.
Sure? Yeah. Oh my god. Well, maybe that was a little too hard.
Speaking of his daughter, let's move on to the next burner, Julie.
As much as I'd like to stick around for dessert, I gotta get back to Deluxe. Running late for my intern shift. Don't want to keep Kaneko waiting.
Secretly the child of Kane, she disagrees with his tyrannical rules and fights with Mike and the gang to keep him under control. To keep the Burners from figuring out who she is, she pretends to be an intern at Kaneko and uses her clearance to get info for the team. Julie was actually Kate Micucci's first big role as a voice actor, and even though she's my least favorite Velma, I generally like her work and she does a great job here. She fits right in with the Burners and doesn't just fall into the obligatory one-girl stereotype. She's smart, resourceful, and one heck of a driver.
We activate an electric pulse that travels at a speed of 315 miles an hour. If you're slow, no more burner.
Sounds cool. Let's do this.
Her car, 9 Lives, is actually my favorite in the series. First of all, it's a reclaimed police cruiser that was modified for combat, which is like the most punk thing I've ever heard of. But it also has the ability to create holograms of itself in other cars and people. It's cool how it ties back into the whole double life thing she has going on, with one foot in Deluxe and the other in Motor City. Even though she doesn't agree with her dad, she still loves him and has faith that maybe someday he'll decide to drop his evil ways.
I really think it's time you reconsidered how you run things in Deluxe. I mean, do you have to be so intense all the time? Maybe you could show a little more empathy. Huh. That's good.
There's no chance of that actually happening, but I do like that they have a genuine love for each other, even if they aren't completely honest. While she generally gets along with the other Burners, from time to time they do like to mess with her for still living in Deluxe. This leads to her sometimes taking unnecessary risks to prove that she's a real Burner, but Mike is always there to remind her that she will always be part of the team.
You have to go! Motor City needs you! I'm sure you can find someone else to help you steal files and make holograms.
I'm not leaving, and the Burners need you!
She's basically the second in command of the Burners, and is one of the people that Mike trusts the most. I actually really love their relationship, it's super cute. I know a lot of fans like to ship them, but to be honest, the only thing I ever saw was a really good friendship. Then again, I'm not a shipper, I have bills to worry about.
I will eat anything for money, except money.
Yeah? Well, I'm good at interrogating too, and also punching.
I'm the best at punching.
Oh, that's nice, but I know karate punching.
I know all sorts of karates.
Oh, yeah? Name one. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Bringing up the middle, we have the muscle of the group, and self-appointed co-leader, Texas.
What the heck are you doing? It took me 6 months to grow those.
And it only took Texas 6 seconds to destroy them. Yeah, Texas!
Everything about Texas is loud, over the top, and annoying if not endearing. But back to the show.
Oh, wow!
Chris has gone on record saying that Texas is his favorite character, and as much as he never shuts up, I can tell.
And he says, "Curse your awesomeness, Texas!" And I kick him out the window. It's easy.
We never really learned much about Texas, and it seems like he's the only member of the Burners that didn't come from Deluxe. We never see any of his family or know which part of Motor City he came from. He's also pretty much fully formed from the get-go, too. No major arcs other than learning to take it down a notch every once in a while. But that's okay. Just because he doesn't go on a grand journey of discovery doesn't mean he's any less of a fun character. And he's great. I crack up every time he's on screen. There's even an entire recap episode just dedicated to him embellishing his adventures. I love when a show actually does something with recap episodes. Shout out to Legend of Korra.
Hello.
Hey, it's Zahir.
Oh, hey Zahir.
While not the brightest tool in the henhouse, he is always there to back up Mike and the team, even though he gets a little overzealous.
Okay, first we get Dutch to build me a robot dinosaur from scratch.
What? Like when he teaches a group of eco-terrorists to fight better, leading them to attack all of Deluxe, not just Kane and his men. There are actually tons of unfriendly faces in Motor City besides Kane. Like I mentioned before, you have the eco-terrorists known as the Terra, which is kind of a hat on a hat. They were mutated by chemicals dumped by Kane, and now they want to take him down, no matter how many innocents have to be sacrificed. You also have the mysterious Red. You remember that building full of people that Mike refused to destroy? I said there'd be a test. Well, even though Mike got the people out, their home still ended up destroyed, and Red was one of those people, and he blames Mike. Now he's back to take revenge in a tricked out ride and a homemade suit of battle armor. He's one of the only people in the show that can give Mike a run for his money combat wise, and he looks super cool doing it. He's like the Red X of the show. He eventually joins Kane and gets an upgrade to his suit, which to me is kind of a downgrade. I just like the junky look of his old suit better, but maybe that's on purpose. It's like he's sold out, considering that it's really Kane's fault that he ended up without a home.
You forgot about one little thing. It's called the music.
I really wanted this guy to Vegeta so bad. I love me a good anti-hero, but this guy kinda seemed rotten from the inside out, so maybe if we had gotten another season.
Okay, fine, I'm cool, I'm fine.
But the fan favorite villain of the show could only be one man.
Hey man, how's it going?
The Duke of Detroit doesn't just chew the scenery, he unhinges his jaw and goes to town. He is so much fun. Equal parts charming and threatening, this guy was so popular with both the crew and the viewers that he gets as much screen time as Kane, if not more. And how could you not love him? Look at that swagger, that confidence, that unchecked lust for Mike's car. Hold on now.
Oh, did the Duke really call you a jalopy mutt, baby? He is sorry. You are a treasure. Yeah, me and you are gonna have to get better acquainted. Sex.
Yeah, the Duke is really into his cars, and he has an entire army of chauffeurs to protect him. Among his army is his robotic sidekick, Cyborg Dan, who hates Mike after the Duke orders him to test something for Mike.
This is your fault, Mike Chilton.
This isn't like a one-off thing either. He hates him for the rest of the show.
I am like this because of him. I have been reduced to a hot mess. Chilton will pay.
There's also number 2, the Duke's second in command, who is very...
Despair, fear, horniness, fear-based horniness.
The Duke really is one of the best characters in the show, and they did a great job designing him. Part of his DNA comes from the Duke of New York from Escape from New York, but the other part comes from his own voice actor, Dee Snider, the lead singer of Twisted Sister. It's so cool that they got him for this, and he kills it in the role. Originally, the Duke was going to be a completely different character, darker and more of a reflection of who Mike could have been if he went down the wrong path. There were even plans at some point for him to be Mike's brother or dad, but I like what we got, and it's cool that we sometimes even see the Burners teaming up with the Duke, as long as the Duke ends up making a profit.
Why are you driving my car?
Relax. You gotta learn to go with the flow sometimes, Mikey.
All in all, the show had some pretty good villains, though I wish we got a few more. Maybe like a few more from Deluxe to balance out the Motor City villains. But let's get back to the heroes.
There he is!
Next up, we have Chuck, Mike's best friend. Despite being afraid of anything that moves, he is Mike's constant companion and co-pilot. He's one half of the brains in the group, hacking and programming to help out the burners. While he's a total coward, he manages to fight with the team, never once bailing on Mike. Only once bailing on Mike. For real though, I like Chuck. He's super awkward, but you can tell he's trying his best. While he can't drive and he's not much in a scrap, where he shines is in his intelligence. Once he stops freaking out, he can actually come up with some good plans. And his technical prowess helps keeps the burners on the road. Him and Mike have a really good relationship too, though sometimes Mike's daredevil nature can put a strain on it.
Between your stunts, that power core, and those creepy dog bots, I'm just happy to be alive. But I don't think I'll be up for your crazy driving anytime soon.
Aw, come on, pal, don't say that.
A lot of his stories tend to focus on his insecurities. He wants to be just like Mike, brave, strong, confident in his sexuality, all things he can only dream of. One of my favorite episodes is about Chuck showing the gang his LARPing group.
Live action role playing. Okay, I have a life outside of the burners, you know.
Sure doesn't look like it.
Here he's able to live out the fantasy of being a hyper-competent leader, even though later it's revealed that he only won his leadership by accident. Luckily, Mike is there to remind him that while he might not be the bravest person out there, it's the fact that he still acts in spite of being afraid that makes him a hero. Yeah, I mean that and like the giant laser lance that he uses to kill the robot dragon. God, this shows the tits. So yeah, not the bravest of the bunch, but a more loyal companion you'll never find.
I don't know, Mike. It sounds like
a risk worth taking.
You sure about this?
If you're sure, I'm sure.
Thanks, Chuck.
Though like I said, he's only one half of the brains. In the more hands-on Department of Engineering, we have Dutch, voiced by Kel Mitchell.
Not bad, huh? Okay, so what's next?
He's actually my favorite character in the show, being not only a mechanic, but an artist. In fact, in one of the coolest sequences in the show, we see Dutch paint a mural showing how he left Deluxe not to fight, but to be free to chase his artistic dreams, which is something I think a lot of people will relate to.
What am I doing? Telling a story. Just like these cats. But this is my story.
Even his car Whiplash is an extension of his art, as he's constantly tinkering around with it. I love the music motif it has going on, and that slick silver and purple paint job makes it stand out among the other cars. We actually get to see a lot of good Dutch episodes, like him trying to deprogram his brother, who's brought into Kane's hype, and he even gets a love interest with Tinny, a fellow mechanic and resident of Motor City. I wish the show had gone on a little longer just to get more of her. She's like Audrey from Atlantis picked up a blowtorch. Speaking of side characters, this show has a ton of great ones. Besides the gangs of Motor City, you have people like Claire, Julie's only friend from Deluxe. Her relationship with Julie is super cute. She hates it in Motor City, and she doesn't get all of Julie's weird interests, but she supports her regardless.
Everyone in Deluxe thinks the burners are the enemy. Everyone. But I don't. You know why? Because you told me to believe in them. And I always have your back.
And we even get to see her explore her wild side when she starts hanging out with the Amazons. While she isn't a fan of the less than sanitary conditions of Motor City, she still helps out from time to time as a favor to Julie. She has a great design too. This show really knew how to draw cool looking black characters. I'm not the only one that likes her design either, because Chuck has a major craving for chocolate.
Hershey Park, yeah.
Throughout the show, you see him trying to put the moves on her very, very poorly. It's not like aggressive or anything, just kinda sad to watch.
So, hey, maybe I should, come check out your new pod up close, test the stability sensors.
Stability sensors are fine.
I never really got the feeling that they were going to be a thing, outside of a quick kiss used to snap out of a trance, but I do appreciate that you do see them becoming better friends. And who knows, maybe if the show had gone on, that king could have got himself a queen.
Well, at least we hugged.
No, we didn't.
Yeah, we did.
There's also Jacob, the elderly mentor of the Burners. He actually started Kane Co. with Kane back in the day. He was kind of the Steve Wozniak to his Steve Jobs.
You rule, Woz!
He mostly serves as comic relief and a source of disgusting looking but strangely addicting food.
I think I am gonna celebrate today.
Fantastic!
But, can I have something other than okra mayonnaise muffins?
No.
I would have liked a few more Jacob episodes since we see so little of his past life. Maybe a flashback episode or something. That's how you know I like the characters in the show. People that know me know I hate a flashback or prequel or anything like that. Still a good character, if a little underutilized. But we'll talk more Motor City after this break.
There's nowhere to run.
Watching these characters go on adventures is like playing the motorcycle level of Bayonetta off of 8 pixie sticks and a Wonder Ball.
Let's just calm down.
It's everything I loved from Magus cranked up to 12. Makes sense considering that Chris called in his Magus pals, George Christic and Jody Schaefer, to help. Jody, I hope you still watch my vids, hi. Like seriously, they go so hard on the animation and the writing. So many cool situations they find themselves in. Fighting a weather robot, going up against techno zombies, entering into a BattleBots competition. You never know what you're gonna get when you see an episode, but you better believe whatever it is, they're gonna make the heck out of it.
You gotta make this plan bigger! You gotta Texasify it!
The only thing Chris wanted out of this show was for his artists, writers, and musicians to have as much fun as possible.
So I'd like to tell the animators to really go for it.
Being able to do and draw whatever we want is freedom that most people don't get.
Also, I forgot to mention it, but Brendan Small did the opening for the show, and also a bunch of other music in it. This thing was made for me. I know I said it before, but I can't stress enough how weird it was that this was a Disney show. But that's what makes it so cool. With Disney XD being so new, there wasn't a set identity yet. That meant anything had a shot at defining the channel. And how cool would it have been if Motor City had been the flagship show? I mean, it's not like there weren't attempts. They played behind the scenes stuff as bumpers, there were some slick motion graphics made for it, and it even got a pretty fun looking iPad game. It's not just me, right? This thing looks rad, and I'm not even that into car games. For some reason, there were never any toys made. There were plans for a toy line that was going to be handled by Mattel, and there were even packaging designs made, but I guess plans just fell through, and that was just the start. The show started getting jerked around by the network, episodes were aired out of order, there was a 2-month hiatus in the middle of the season, and the show's time slot kept changing, which probably hurt it even more in the ratings. Not to mention there were a ton of episodes that leaked online, which really hurt the show. With all this weighing against it, this little experiment started looking like a big expensive mistake. What sucks even more is that they had already started production on the second season. There was even going to be a new opening, but all we have of it are these unfinished storyboards. But on November 5th, 2012, it was officially announced that Motor City wouldn't be picked up for another season.
I just can't do it. I can't take this shit no more, man.
At least the show went out with a bang, a 2-part episode that pitted all of Motor City against Kane. We got to see Mike captured, Julie struggle to come to terms with her father, and we even get an actual showdown with Kane, who at this point had mostly just interacted with Mike via hologram. This is one of the best finales I've seen in a while, and I'm pretty sure every piece of equipment used to make this thing exploded as soon as they were done. It's so rad. But for now, it looks like this is all we're gonna get from Motor City. Surprisingly though, there is a TV show that carries on its spirit. Yes, I'm serious. I haven't seen much of it, but it looks really similar to Motor City. DreamWorks actually ended up seeing Motor City and being so impressed with it that they got Chris and his team to give Turbo the same treatment. And I'm only kinda furious that it has over double the episodes. But back to Motor City. I love this show, and it was really sad to see it go. But man, what a ride.
We probably should have tested this.
Copyright.
Motorcity is one of those once-in-a-lifetime shows. Such a strong artistic vision, and like nothing I've ever seen before. It just looks like such a fun show to work on. It's a shame that we might never get any more. It's not without hope though. Since 2013, Chris has been in talks to get the licenses back for both Motorcity and Megas XLR. It doesn't happen often, but it's been done before. Heck, even Smosh brought back their brand.
Shut up!
I've waited way longer for stuff, so as long as there's still a shred of hope, I'll keep on believing. I don't think we've seen the last of the burners, and hopefully one day they'll be back to live free and live fast.
Maybe you should just take it slow. Huh, now where's the fun in that?